Mr. Kraus, our second question comes from George Gibbs. He's a sophomore majoring in political science and history. Would you support U.S. military actions in or against Pakistan to secure the border region and capture known al-Qaeda suspects harbored near the Afghan-Pakistan border? 2 minutes.
Well, that's a tough question. Congress would have limited say-so in that area. I mean, that's under our Constitution. That authority is really given to the president. Now, my personal feeling, I think we need to do whatever's necessary to track down terrorists so that we are protected. So the we don't have to fight them on our shores. Now, if you go into a foreign country, sovereign country like Pakistan, it's a very touchy subject. And as a freshman in Congress, I'd have to be very wary about expressing an opinion on this. I don't want to sideswipe the gentleman that asked the question, but I would defer that, and hopefully we get a Republican president in 2 years, so we can have someone who has some common sense. I support the military action in Afghanistan. Fortunately, Obama has gone the right way after so much delay. We should have done this a long time ago. It's just like the surge worked in Iraq. We should have done that a long time ago. I think we would have better results sooner. My philosophy is we got to go after the terrorists so they don't come here.
Thank you. Mr. Stunt?
My answer to that would be maybe. I think a lot of it depends upon the situation. I don't think there's any way you can just broad brush it. I think a lot of it has to do with the our contact and interaction with the Pakistani people, and kind of get a feel for where we are. I have a little bit of a personal experience when I was in college. I was finishing my last 3 hours of school before my BS degree, and I was activated to go to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Bahrain, all that good stuff. So I know what it's like, and I know kind of what goes through people's minds, and when you're messing with with our young people's lives, you've got to be very careful. For any good reason, if there's a good reason and there is just cause, absolutely. And it's so good to see people supporting our folks 100% now. However, as Ed had mentioned about the Afghanistan situation, why did it take a president 6 months to do what the generals were saying 6 months ago, and now all of a sudden he doesn't? Indecisiveness is the worst thing. So I would say that no decision is worse than than a good educated, thoroughly looked into decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. West?
When you're dealing with people's lives, it doesn't matter where you are in this world. Every life is precious in my mind. But so of our lives here. When you're talking about attacking this country, and that's what's happened, that's where all this comes from. All this stemmed from years back, and it wound up with 9/11, and now we're where we are right now. We've got to understand that we need to take whatever measures are possible and applicable to do it. Just like Scott was saying, there's times when you would love to say, I just love to go over there and level them, like my father-in-law said, let's go over there and take a bulldozer and run them all down. But there's people over there that really don't like these people that's doing it to us. So what we have got to do is get these people trusting us enough that when we go in there and make a move, that the move we make is going to be certain and sure, and we're doing it for the right reasons, not just because we can.
Thank you. Dr. Eichenbaum?
Unfortunately, the answer is not a 90-second answer, so let me say a few things. First of all, Congress is the one who has to declare war. That's their job. They have not been doing their job. They've deferred to the president when they shouldn't have. One of the mistakes, well, let me tell you this. The very first instance of terrorism against this country was back in 1803. And that's when the Barbary pirates were having their way in the Mediterranean. And Thomas Jefferson sent ships and Marines over there, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. And he took care of that threat. And he went into those countries because the terrorists were being harbored by people there. On 9/11, we were brutally attacked. 3,500 civilians were murdered in this country. We have the right, under the just war theory, to go after the people who did that. And we have the right to go anywhere and go against those that harbor those criminals. However, we made a mistake by trying to nation build in Iraq and nation build in Iran. We don't belong there trying to make Afghanistan into Disney World. It's just not going to happen. Unfortunately, Afghanistan is turning now into another Vietnam. We pacify a village in the daytime, and then at night the Taliban come in there and they threaten that if you cooperate with the Americans, you're going to die. And they do kill people at night. So I think that we're in the wrong way by nation building over there. We have the right to get the people who murdered our civilians, but not to try to turn those countries into a theme park.
Thank you, Dr. Ackerman. Question 3.